I have 100 days to beat a boss in Ark Survival Evolved, but that's been done like a million times, so to make things interesting, I cannot craft anything. And to make things even more interesting and difficult, the day cycle has been sped up to roughly 10 minutes. Can I beat this challenge? Let's find out. The first day I spawned into West Zone 1 and started making my presence known to some nearby compies and then nearly died to a raptor. Oh, he's gaining on me. Oh! Oh yeah, they don't call me the gingerbread man for nothing. I went over to collect some explorer notes so I could level up and then start opening supply drops, which would be my main way of obtaining practically anything. As night fell, I killed my first dodo and then a dillo came by and ate it. Bro, you took my kill. Day 2, I opened a green supply drop to get some really good early game loot, and then the next drop had a bed inside, so I gladly took it, only for me to find another bed and another drop, and that's pretty much all that happened on day 2. The next day I spotted a green drop, so I ran over to get it, only to be slapped in the face with agriculture. For some reason I made my way into the redwoods, which was a big mistake. You'll notice I still have my stuff when I respawn, and that's because I'm using the inventory keeper mod because I knew I'd be dying a lot, and without it I'd be spending more time going to get my stuff than actually playing. Anyway, I decided to kill some raptors so I could try to get some loot from them, but they didn't give me any. So the plan now was to just collect what I could and then start taming some smaller dinos. With my bare hands. You know, I was pretty scared because I'm in dinosaur land with no shelter and no clothing. But thankfully this Carno provided me with some gloves. Don't tell me I'm gonna freeze to death. Day 5, I constructed myself a little hut and then placed my bed. And then that night I opened up a pretty mid supply drop. Oh, great.
Whoa! This is worthless.
I came across this alpha raptor and somehow avoided its aggro and got to continue living. Ah! Wait, never mind. Yeah, I made no progress on day 6. Yep, there's that alpha raptor. I continued my search looking for decent supply drops, hoping to make some progress. When I didn't find anything good, I resorted to violence, I mean taming. I figured at this point of the game I should just tame any dillo in my path. Didn't matter the level, I just wanted an army. And by day 8, I had a few dillos taming. One of the dillos I tamed was killed, and that was shortly followed by me getting killed. After respawning, I opened up a supply drop to get some house building supplies and then continued my mass dillo taming. When we arrived back at base, I set them to breeding, and while they did their thing, I continued searching for loot and recruiting more soldiers. And by the end of the day, I had myself a small army. But I wanted a large army. I wanted to be unstoppable. So I kept breeding, and eventually I got some hide armor, which was a big step up from what I had before. I figured by now I had a large enough army to take on my first artifact cave. So we started the long journey over to the central cave.
Some of you may die, but it's a sacrifice I am willing to make.
What the? On our way, we proved our strength by killing a stego, and there were no casualties, before killing a raptor and getting some loot. Go forth, my minions. What was really upsetting me was the raptors would only aggro onto me instead of my dillos, which would result in the death of me. A lot. Dillos, can you just do your job and kill who you're supposed to? On our way, I came across an Ankylosaurus saddle, which meant taming one of those would be high on my list. Day 17 was just spent walking to the cave. That's pretty much it, and it didn't help that everything wanted to murder me, and my Dillos were slow as heck. I collected a slingshot, which meant I could tame some more creatures. Or kill them. It's pretty unpredictable. Later that day, I collected a few more tools. By day 20, we made it to the mountains and we were faced with a Rex, but we actually killed it with ease, which was a good sign. And then we continued walking, and my Dillos made sure to get stuck on every rock imaginable. It was really fun. And then we finally made it to the central cave. And it only took 9 days! Well, that was certainly quick. But, you know, of course I died because the bats wouldn't aggro onto my Dillos for some reason. Day 22 through 23 was spent trying to get back to the cave because everything wanted to kill me, and could kill me. By day 24 I made it back to the cave. And can you guess what happened next? Can you guess? While I was running back to the cave, I found this level 20 Anky and decided to tame it. When he finished taming, I named him Jack, and we slowly made our way to the rest of the pack. By day 25, I made it back to the cave, only to discover all of my Dillos had simply vanished into thin air. I cannot even make this stuff up if I tried. So I just resorted to running the cave on foot. Crap, I'm so dead. After retrieving the artifact, I found a Mastercraft bow, and I would definitely be using that. I had a great start to day 26 because I was viciously killed by Troodons. And then I killed this low level Rex, which was pretty cool, I guess. And then later that day, me and some Stegos ganged up to kill another Rex, but unfortunately we didn't get any good loot. While I was running, this Equus, how do you pronounce that? Equus spawned right in front of me, so I took that opportunity and started taming it. They're actually an amazing creature for this type of challenge because their passive tame don't require a saddle to ride, and they deal torpor damage to other creatures. Everything was going swimmingly. I was at 99% tame, and this Equus was about to be mine. What?
Watch this, Lise. You can actually pinpoint the second when his heart rips in half. And now.
The type of pain I felt in that moment was like a landlord that didn't raise the rent on a single mother. So here's a little life update for you. It's day 28, I have nearly no tames, not very good items, and I need to make progress. So I started taming this low level Carno, and now I finally have a decent tame. While I was waiting on it to tame, I started taming this Packy, but it died for some reason. It's not like I was launching rocks at it or something. When my Carno finished taming on day 29, we killed a turtle and I was feeling unstoppable. But that brief euphoria was quickly shattered into a million pieces, when Eric, along with myself, were brutally murdered. But I did not give up, however. I proceeded to tame a Packy with a slingshot and got some new armor. But I quickly realized the Packy is pretty much useless for dealing torpor unless you have a saddle. So on day 30 we made our way over to the lava cave to collect the artifact of the Massive. After retrieving the artifact, I opened up a red drop to find a Mastercraft compound bow, and I tested it on a Rex while he danced for mercy. Oh yes, a yellow drop. I sure hope it has something of value. Day 33 I found an otter, so me, being the free thinker that I am, decided to tame it. I sure hope nothing bad happens to my otter while I'm in this cave.
A few moments later.
Well, I can't say I didn't expect that to happen. Eventually, I retrieved the artifact of the hunter after some trial and error. Emphasis on the error. Day 35, I made my way over to the redwoods and got a decent green drop. But I wasn't here for the drops. I was here for the elusive monkey. However, I wasn't able to tame one. Yet. The next day I found an alpha raptor, so I tried killing it. Can you guess what happened next? I'll give you a second to think. But I wasn't gonna just give up. And that determination I had was rewarded with a crossbow. You ever just accidentally tame a Pegomastax?
I don't want to tame you!
I began taming a Carno with a slingshot. Yes, it was a risky move, but I'm running out of options here. I successfully knocked it out before knocking out an opposite gender Carno. The first one tamed, and hopefully it would last longer than 5 minutes. No, this one lasted less than 2 minutes. I timed it. I forgot to record on day 41, but all that happened was I used 5 of the tranks that I had to knock out this female Carno. Me, on my way to, when my Carno finished taming, I watched that exact same monkey get obliterated by a cracked Megatherium. I then set my Carnos to breeding so I could raise an army of them, and by the next day I had a couple eggs ready to be hatched. Day 44 I went back to my old base to pack it up and set up base where my tames were, which was near the redwoods. I built myself a beautiful home, and then that evening I hatched some Carno eggs. When I was finished with that, I headed over to get my Anki that you guys probably forgot about by now. Day 47 I ran over to this green drop to get some decent stuff. The rest of that day was spent raising more Carnos and being disappointed by their disappointing stats. But then I hatched this one baby with some pretty decent stats, but I'm not too picky at this point. I also forgot to mention this, but I would be trying to defeat the Gamer Broodmother primarily with Carnos and whatever else I could use. Pretty much all of day 49 was spent raising Carnos, and I have proof. I started off day 50 by getting some garbage from a green drop, and I spent most of that day raising Carnos, but by the end of the day I got an Ascendant Iguanodon saddle from a purple drop. So I went out to look for said Iguanodon, but I didn't find one, so I went home and raised some baby Carnos. The next day I tamed a level 90 Gigantopithecus, and it felt amazing to ride an adequate tame for once. Here's a fun fact. Did you know your monkey can kill you? When I respawned, I got some tranks from a green drop, which is like the best thing you can hope for in a no crafting challenge. Day 54, I knocked out a level 50 Iguanodon, and while it was taming, I tried killing these alpha raptors I found. And they would do this thing where they would run in circles so I couldn't hit them, and before long, I was dead. Oh, no! When I respawned, I came across this higher level Iguanodon, so I knocked it out. But I left it unattended for too long, so something came along and killed it. When the level 50 Iguanodon was tamed, I saddled it up and we headed back to base, leveling it up as we went. On our way back, I finally got a campfire. After all of this time, I had no cooked food to eat, and you have no idea what kind of impact that has on a guy. By day 57, we arrived back at base, and there I kind of just paused to gaze at everything I had accomplished so far. But I still have work to do, so I went over to the snow biome to look for a Yudi or Megatherium to tame. But the thing about the snow biome is, 1, it's really cold, and 2, everything wants to kill you. So you can see that didn't work out. So I spent day 59 collecting supply drops, but that night I was able to find a lower level Megatherium. So I knocked it out and I killed this Alpha Raptor for some prime meat and then tamed the Megatherium. The next day I found this level 130 Megatherium, but I had nowhere near enough tranks to knock it out, so instead I leveled up more Carnos as we made our way over to the green obelisk, and on our way I accidentally tamed another Pegomastax. Once we made it to the obelisk, I dropped off the Carnos and then headed back to base. What a nice day to take a stroll through the woods. I sure hope nothing jumps out at me. Day 64, I spotted a green drop over in the distance, so I ran to it. It did take a while, but I got there. Are you kidding me? What? Are you kidding me? After that psychological trauma, I decided to tame another Megatherium so I could have a breeding pair. While I waited on him to tame, me and the boys killed everything in our path in order to level up my dinos. When he finished taming, I named him Johnny and set my Megatheriums to breeding, and while they were doing their thing, I collected some useful items from a couple drops. And yes, I collected a metal sign blueprint. Out of all things, a metal sign blueprint. When I got back to base, I found that my Megatheriums had created twins. Me, being the great parent that I am, forgot to feed them. Day 68, I delivered a baby Megatherium. Its stats weren't great, but they become powerhouses when they kill bugs, so hopefully that would be good enough for the broodmother. I once again took my Carnos out for leveling and mainly put levels into health so that they could tank more damage in the boss battle. Day 69, we killed an Alpha Raptor, and then when I was finished leveling up that batch of Carnos, I came home and imprinted my Megatherium. The next day I ran over to this purple drop to get disappointed. Yeah, pretty much all of day 70 was spent looking for drops. The next day I headed over to the snow biome to try to tame a Yudi, but then I remembered something. I'm still not welcome here, and it's still freezing, so I gave up. Day 72 I took all of my boss dinos over to the green obelisk and leveled them up on the way. Charging into battle riding an Anki is probably one of the most pathetic things you'll ever see. Just kidding, we love you. After a smooth and silky 3 days of walking, we finally made it over to the obelisk, and there I healed my dinos into day 76. Well, I guess it's time to fight the broodmother. I don't have anything else to do, so I guess we'll try it and see what happens. Dang it. Well, that was a little anticlimactic. But you know, I am glad that I did this challenge. It was fun at times. It was also frustrating, but in the end, I'm glad I did it.